You need to develop high self-confidence so that you can acquire a high self-esteem. And when you have self-confidence and high self-esteem, you'll be able to bounce right back from every rejection that comes your way as a salesperson. And we also recognize that the most successful salespeople are those that have reached a stage where they no longer fear rejection and they take rejection very positively, and they recognize that it's a way of life and it is something that does happen when you're selling. And we said it's very important how you think about yourself, because the way you see yourself is how you will act, and the way you act is how we will see you. And that means how you see yourself is how the rest of the world sees you. And normally we say you cannot earn more than what you feel you are worth. And therefore, it is worth all your while to be able to work on your self-esteem so that you can have a very high self-esteem. And your level of self-esteem will ultimately determine everything else that you do, both on the job and also in the rest of your life. We normally say that you always sell in sync with your self-esteem. That means when your self-esteem rises, then you become more successful. Like I said, today we are going to conduct the session in a slightly different way because it's going to be a very practical session as we look at how the COVID-19 has affected the selling system as we know it. And we said the very first step, or rather the very first component of the selling system is preparation, because we said in life and in sales, you only get what you are prepared for. You only get what you are ready for. And we said opportunities are all over the marketplace and anyone can get into very serious opportunities. However, whether the opportunity will be a normal result for you or whether it will be extraordinary will depend to a large extent on your level of preparedness, because we said when an opportunity finds someone who is prepared, then that person will definitely have a breakthrough. So opportunity plus preparedness is equal to a breakthrough. And we said it's always very good to be prepared because the way also you present yourself to clients, to family, to friends, and to everyone else determines how they see you. And the way you look, the way you carry yourself also influences the first impressions that people have of you. And that's why we said you need to be careful with your first impressions because you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. We said in preparation, you need to be very aware of who you are. Your self-esteem needs to be high. You also need to be aware of the policies that your company has in place for serving customers. You also need to be having a very thorough knowledge of the products and services that you sell. And in knowing what your company does and the products, it's also very important to check very closely the kind of relationship that the client has had with your company even before you go to see the client. And as you go to see the client, it's worthwhile, it's advisable, wherever possible, to go with your other internal team members who will be involved in serving the customer. And we said in preparation, one of the most critical stage one of the most critical stages is the stage where you go out to look for customers to sell to, and that is by way of lead generation. And we said you can get this through telephone calls, through mail, through the media, through online sources, through events, networking, and referrals. And today we are going to be looking at how to do lead generation or how to do prospecting in what we can call the COVID era, so that you can continue to have your sales pipeline properly filled up in spite of the season that we are in. And we said also during preparation is a good time to set up appointments with clients. And when you have appointments with clients, it's always to make sure 15 minutes before the appointment, you are ready, completely ready for the engagement with the client. And we said the second component of the selling system is dramatizing the sales presentation. And we said, as you prepare to make the sales presentation, you must remember you are putting yourself on stage, the client is watching you, and imagine that the rest of the world is also looking at you. So give us your best show when it comes to the sales presentation. And we say the best way to deliver the presentation is to make sure you dramatize so that you are able to demonstrate each and every benefit that your service has. Because we also said buying is an emotional process. And the more you get to the client's heart, the better your chances of making a sale. And so we said, as you do your sales presentation, sometimes clients will go ahead and give you the business. Other times, they may raise certain objections, and it is your duty to handle the objections that clients raise. And we said, in handling these objections, you must always play it cool, never take it personally, put it into perspective, look for other factors to compensate what the client is looking for. And as you negotiate with the client, make sure it's a win-win outcome. I think that's what we did yesterday. I would like now to just request you, if you can go to the chat box and make one comment concerning yesterday or ask a question. Please make a comment or ask a question concerning yesterday. What would be your comment concerning what we covered yesterday? What kind of question would you have concerning what we covered yesterday? Please go ahead and type that in the chat box. Click your chat box and make a comment. As soon as you make the comment, as soon as you ask a question, we will move on to the next stage of the selling system. And like I said, today it's going to be a little bit different in that we are going to be having everybody participate. I'll be asking specific people to answer specific questions. And then we will move on, because today is going to be really very, very, very practical. Can I have one or two comments concerning yesterday, or a question concerning yesterday? Then we can proceed to the next point. And George, could you type a comment on the chat box? George Karugu.
I'm typing.
Just type it in the chat. Type it in the chat.
Okay, all right.
As George is typing, I'm seeing Damaris is with us. Damaris, could you also type your comment in the chat box? The chat box is at the bottom of your screen, and it is written chat. Please click it and type something. Type a comment or a question concerning yesterday. Damaris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Let me check.
George, I can see you've already typed yours. How to overcome the two fears of selling. The customers always fear that they might make the wrong decision, and the salesperson is always fearing that they'll be rejected. This one is very simple. With the customer, you have to keep on reassuring them and show them how they'll benefit from the service. But for the salesperson, it is really an opportunity for them to develop self-esteem. And when that self-esteem is very high, they will never have any fears when they're in front of the clients. Thank you very much, Damaris and George. I think now we can keep going. Damaris is reminding us you need to build a very good rapport with the client. Remember, you need to connect to the client's heart so that you can do some good business with them. Connecting to the heart of the client is very, very, very critical. So please keep that in mind. Now, once you have done your sales presentation and you have handled every objection that the client had, and you have reached a stage where the negotiation has gone well, and both of you are happy with the outcome, then we say you are now at the stage where you are closing the sale. We normally say you are closing the sale and starting off a relationship with the client. So you are starting a relationship after you close the sale. And when we are talking about closing the sale, how would you know that it is time to close the sale? And the only way we can know that it is time to close the sale is if you are very attentive as you are discussing with the client and you are looking out for the buying signals. And we normally say you watch out for the buying signals as you discuss with the client. And when you see a buying signal, you ask the client for the business. And once you have asked for the business, you stay quiet until the client either says something or until they give you the business. Now, I would like us to do a very quick exercise. And I would like us to do a quick review because I know all of us are involved in sales. I want us to review all the buying signals that we have ever seen with our clients. So I'd like you to go straight to the chat box and give me examples of some of the buying signals that you see from clients. A buying signal is either something that the client asks you and you know they're about to accept your deal. And the other buying signal could be something that the client is doing, which is what we call nonverbal communication. And when you see the nonverbal communication, then you know it is time to close a deal. So I'd like you to go and let me know what kind of buying signals you get from your clients. Please type that in the chat box. I can see Ahenda is reminding us that you got to sell yourself first before you sell the product. Remember, we talked about the first impressions. Remember, we talked about connecting into the heart of the client. This is what you really need to do for your presentation to be successful. You've got to connect properly with the client. George would like to call it, okay, not George, Ahenda would like to call it selling yourself. Yes, in a way, it's selling yourself. You got to make yourself appealing to the client. You got to make yourself friendly to the client. If you are going to connect to the client's heart, yes, you need to give it the works so that the client is comfortable with you. Please write the buying signals. What kind of buying signals do you look out for so that you can know the client is ready to buy? What do the clients tell you? And when they tell you that, you know they are ready to buy. Can we have everybody write something? Fantastic. Everyone can see Maida when the client asks you about payment, when they ask for a quotation, when they ask you how much it costs, that's a buying signal. So you people have been seeing buying signals. What else? What else? Beatrice, what do you normally see or what do you normally hear so that you can know the client is ready to buy? Victor, what do you normally see or hear so that you can know the client is ready to buy? Gerard, karibu sana. Yes, when the client asks for a discount, then you know, yes, they are already considering to buy. All these are buying signals.
If they ask, how do you pay?
Yes, exactly. That means they're already thinking of how they are going to pay, or, I mean, how they are going to buy, and they already want to know how will the payment be made. Fantastic. I like that. Yes, Bugusa is telling us when they start negotiating the cost, when they are trying to reduce the cost, yes, it means they are interested. All these are buying signals. When they ask how they can get the policy documents when you are selling insurance, that's a buying signal. So thank you so much, everyone. I can see quite clearly that everyone is conversant with buying signals. And one of the biggest tragedies that I have come across, both as a salesperson and as a sales manager, is a situation where the salesperson goes selling and they are not able to close the deal. And many times, the salespeople are not able to close the deal because they were not attentive enough to see the buying signals. If you miss out on the buying signal, you can go on and on and on and on, and you will not be able to achieve your objective for that day. So it is always very important to be attentive and watch out for the buying signals. And when you get the buying signal, if it's a question that the client has asked, for example, if they ask you how much it costs, go ahead and give them the figures exactly as they are and ask for the order. If the client has asked you for a discount, respond to the discount request. If you are able to give, if it is within your policy to give a discount, give the discount. If it is not possible to give a discount, show the client the other compensatory benefits that you are giving them in lieu of a discount, and then ask for the order, ask for the business. And then we normally say, after you have asked for the business, you relax, you wait for the client to respond to your request for the business. If you have asked the client, can I now prepare the policy document for you? Can I now request you to process the local purchase order for me? After that, you keep quiet until the client responds. Because we normally say, when you keep quiet, you put the client under pressure to respond to what you asked. And in the best case scenario, they will always say yes, go ahead and prepare the documents. In the worst case scenario, they'll tell you something else that you need to do, or they will say no. And when they say no, it is not the end of the world. We normally say, when they say no, it is an invitation for you to go through the benefits once again to make sure that they understand the benefits and what is in it for them. And after you have received your order, after you have received your go ahead, this is now what I can say becomes the beginning of your relationship with that client. So after the deal is closed is the beginning of the relationship. That's the time when you open the relationship. So closing the deal is not the end. Closing the deal is the beginning of the relationship. Now, once you have had the deal, it's always very important to follow up with the client. Make sure you call the client so that you can reassure them that everything they wanted you to do will be done the way the client wants it. And you also need to keep on reassuring them that they made a wise and brilliant decision. And very, very, very important, after you have closed the deal with the client, always remember to ask the client if they could refer you to one of their friends, to one of their family, to somebody else within the same industry or one of their suppliers, so that you can go and give them the same good deal that you have given to your client. The other thing you must remember is what is called the cross-selling opportunities. For example, if someone has bought a life cover from you, it will be very, very important for you to check who else is giving them the cover for their homes, who else is giving them the cover for the office, who else is giving them the other covers that you sell. So once you have sold one product to a client, please follow up with the client and get